Hey everyone, how's it going today? So what am I working on now? I'm actually not working on anything at the moment, but I've gotten a few, more than a few, over several videos, people see some tools that I'm using and they ask, what is that tool? Where did you get it? How did you make it? Stuff like that. So I'm going to show you a couple of tools that I've used in the past that, and one that I haven't used on any videos yet. But ones that I've used and people have asked about, and I'm going to just show you what they are and give you a little more detail on them. That's all this is about. So let's get going here. So here I got a couple of things laid out. Here's a crow's foot that I made. And this was obviously from an 1 1/16 Craftsman wrench. And I think I needed this for a Ford EGR tube, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was on a Ford Taurus. If I cannot recall, though. And I was doing something to the car. I don't remember what it was. This was way back when. And I needed a crow's foot. And I happened to have the wrench. So I butchered up a wrench. And that hole there, I actually was able to drill a hole through it. And I sat there with a file. And I actually filed it square. So you can actually grab that with a 3/8 ratchet or 3/8 breaker bar or whatever. And I can tell you, honestly, I've used this thing more times than you can imagine since I've made it. It does work pretty good. Yeah, I sacrificed a wrench, but whatever. I don't think I use an 1 1/16 wrench for much of anything other than needing this. I do have another 1 1/16, that's why I wasn't too concerned about it. Lately, this tool. This is the one that I've gotten asked the most questions about. This is a 19 millimeter, and I believe Snap-on calls this a hex nut or a flare nut socket. And this is designed specifically for fuel injection lines. And what I had purchased this for was the fuel injection lines on a GM 6.5 diesel when we were doing diesel injection pumps at the dealership. It was a very common repair, and I found that using this tool would be much, much easier. I think we had one as a factory service tool, I don't recall, and I just decided, you know what, I'm going to get one for myself. And let me just show you real quick. So this is that fuel line that I just replaced on that Hyundai, or Kia rather, in that other video. So when you take this tool, you can fit it around like this and get it onto the actual nut. This way you can work around if you have a very tight spot to work, but you can't work in a full turn, but you can work partially like this and then rotate the tool and then like this. And that's exactly what I used it for. And it comes in super handy, let me tell you. I don't use it often, but when I do need it, it does come in handy. Now next are these two. Can you guess what these are? What these are used for is, this one is the Ford one, I believe. No, this one's the Dodge one. This is the Ford one. And what they're for is when you're changing a front hub bearing, especially up north, on a 4x4 truck, you take the 4 retaining bolts out and you're trying to get the hub out, you're sitting there with a sledgehammer beating them to death. This tool, let me see if I can explain it on this link, and it's on the lift. This tool, okay, yeah, I can kind of explain it. On the Dodges, what you would do is you'd loosen the nut up or the bolt up, you'd have it sticking out. And then this tool would actually butt up against the front differential. And you'd have to have somebody sitting inside, or you could do it yourself. It's just easier if you have somebody sitting inside. You start it up, and then you cut the wheels. This thing will bottom out, and it'll actually act like a press and press the bolt out that way. Yes, very good possibility you're going to destroy the bolts in the process. But you do one, usually I leave one up and one down on the opposite side, and I try to go crisscross, and like I'll cut the wheels one way, have them stop, go back, take the tool, move it to the other side, and then do the same thing. And what that does is it'll press the hub out. Works amazingly well, amazing. If you've never seen this tool, pick it up. You could probably get it on Amazon. I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but I got these from Snap-on. I'll include the part numbers for the actual tools you can buy, not the ones I've made, obviously. All right, next one up. This tool here. This is for installing wheel studs. Now I'm going to be using this tomorrow when I install the wheel studs in this axle. What it is you install the wheel stud like that. You install the tool over the wheel stud. Then you install a lug nut. What I'm going to do too is I'm going to show you how to do this without the tool, because I know not everybody's going to have the tool. But you can pick this tool up. I think pretty much every parts store carries them in like their help section or their tool section rather. So you thread the lug on like that, and then when you tighten the lug up, this is actually a roller bearing, like a throwout bearing. That will actually allow the bearing part to lock in here while the rest of this rotates. You don't like gouge up the wheel stud or the wheel lug or even the hub flange there. All right, but I will show you that tomorrow. Next up, this tool. 4140, that's the only thing I can tell you about it. I got a pair of these on Amazon, or a 3-pack I think it was. This is for trim panels. This thing is super, super strong. And let me tell you, this thing, it usually will not mar. I mean, it might mar if you're not careful, but this thing can get in between really delicate pieces and pop them out. Fantastic tool to have, a must-have. I recommend everybody get one of these. Look on Amazon, you will find these. This is an interesting one. I had a BMW years back, and I was pressing ball joints. And one of the when I got to the point of actually pressing them in, I realized I didn't have anything that actually fit them correctly. So I made this out of a Craftsman socket I had laying around, 1 7/8 obviously. And it took me a little time to make it, but I made this, and it worked absolutely perfectly for doing what I had to do. I have used it since for something else too, but I tell you what, when I had to make this and use it, it worked phenomenally. So just thought that was interesting. You might want to see that. This is one of my favorite ones. What's this for? Well, I actually put this on the end of a long extension. Let me show you that. All right, so there it is. It's on the end of a locking half-inch drive extension. What in the world could this possibly be used for? Well, let me show you. I can use this Lincoln again as a demonstration. I'm making a video on this, on replacing the rear axle bearings. And I ran into some issues, and you'll see that on the video. And also I ran into some lighting issues, and you'll see that on the video too, but I'm learning now how not to do that again. This will go in on Chrysler, Dodge, Plymouth with corporate axles, they're called. This will insert like such. And at the end, where your carrier bearings are, they have adjustable collars. Like this rear end uses shims in there. The Chrysler ones have adjustable collars. The adjustable collar, you have to rotate out. You can adjust preload, and you can adjust backlash, everything else on the Chrysler ones. This tool will insert, and you can put a ratchet on that end and actually adjust those adjustment nuts. There is a factory tool for doing it, but trying to find that factory tool can sometimes be difficult. So that, I believe, was a 5/8 socket that I had laying around, and that was just a random like axle nut that happens to fit perfectly inside of the adjusting collar. So I welded up on both sides like that. I am not a welder, so don't critique my welds. But this thing has worked perfectly on so many rear ends that I've had to do. And the nice thing too is, with that little snout sticking out like that, this thing actually bottoms out perfectly in there and is held in place. So you can't go too far, or, you know, as long as you're holding pressure in, it stays in place where it needs to be. You can't overshoot it. So actually works extremely well. And I remember at the dealership, everybody would come and borrow this tool because they liked it better than the factory tool. The factory tool is basically just a long bar with that on the end. All right, so what's next? You ever see these? These are relay jumpers. I don't remember where I got them from. This is the most common one I've ever used. I use that one constantly. And this one. I've actually never used that larger one. I don't remember where I got these from, like everything else, but I'm sure you could find them somewhere online. But it's a pretty simple setup. I had never opened one up because I don't feel like looking to see what's involved, but I could probably make one if I wanted to. Nice thing about this is, you know, you jump the relay and you could turn it on or off the circuit whenever you're doing something. These things come in super handy. I probably use these the most out of anything else. I do have other specialty tools. I'm not going to get into them right now. Last but not least are these. So what are these? Let me show you. These are actually diamond files. It's diamond coated. And what this is for cleaning terminals. You can actually put it over a terminal, squeeze and pull, and what it does is it cleans the terminal. Yeah, like this. Actually, let me set up my tripod real quick. So what you're going to do, you're going to take the tool, you're going to put it over, and you're going to drag it. Just like that. You see how it cleans off the end? If you have any corrosion on there, it helps clean it off, especially like when you're in a connector that you can't get to, but see how it puts those light little scratches in there? But it'll clean off, and it works very well, actually. This is actually, I've worn out a set of these. This is actually my second set. And these I literally just picked up last week. I haven't used them yet. This is the first time I actually used it. But these work very well. Like I said, I've had them for a couple of years. I did wear out a set. They do eventually wear out, because they're just, I guess, some kind of glue or coating to hold that diamond shaving stuff on there. They make them in all sorts of different styles, too. You can get them in round for, like, round connectors and whatnot. But they work really, really well. But, yeah, so for right now, I think that's going to be it. Like I said, I just wanted to show you a couple of specialty things I have. I think once I progress to the next level, which is coming soon, just be patient, it's getting there. Once I progress to that next level, I guess maybe I'll start showing you everything that I have, just so you guys can see, you know, what I have to do my job with. Like I said, I've been a professional mechanic for, you know, it's 40 years now. And you wind up collecting stuff. I've probably given away 3 complete sets of toolboxes, toolboxes, everything else, to my son, my son-in-law, and a kid that was starting out at the dealership. I gave him pretty much a complete tool set to start his career going. He had lost his mother. It was a whole big disaster. So he needed the help. I helped him. So anyway, I guess that's about it. So hopefully you're getting something out of my videos. If you are, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching.